With the introduction of the constitution that we are actually exercising constitutionalism, whereby we have engaged the people before any budgetary process so that they get the views of the necessary things that they want included in the budget, so as to care for the social needs of the people. The development partners, instead of engaging the parliamentarians, they either go through the civil society organizations and thereby sidelining the parliamentarians, and of which I think if that engagement can be enhanced, we'll get value for that process. But as of now, it's quite tricky. No one knows exactly what sort of aid is coming through the country, how is it being channeled into the country, whether there are some certain interests to address certain particular sectors. It's not clear. The development partners have to bear in mind that not necessarily the engagement in terms of oversight, but we also have the legislative role, we also have the representative role, which is of paramount importance to engage the people that elected you.
Our new president, who's President Hage Geingob, have introduced a strategy to fight poverty. First of all, he appointed a new ministry. For the first time, we have a Ministry of Poverty Alleviation. Secondly, he came up with a Harambee Prosperity Plan, a plan that is trying to aim at accelerating the fight against poverty. And we even went to the point of looking at our whole tender process to make sure that the beneficiary of our tenders also include some local, players. In the past, I must say that Parliament was not really involved in developmental issues, and especially when it comes to donor countries and so on. They were mostly engaging the executive, and the Parliament was just put on a sideline. It is a new realization that the donor countries and the donor communities are trying to involve Parliament, which is a very good thing because Parliament are actually the representative of the people. Sometimes the donors will come with a particular project, but the level of understanding of the people who are supposed to be the beneficiary is not there. In my view, for this whole thing to be effective, they must understand the local dynamics. The people who are responsible for implementation of this project must also have a good understanding of what is leadership and what needs to be done to alleviate poverty. Because effectiveness is actually a question of, do you understand what is expected from you? Do you understand the end result, the output of a particular project?
Corruption is a cancer, it's embarrassing, and it tends to widen the gap between the well-to-do and the poor. We have institutions in Zambia that have been designated to fight corruption. They are doing their best, but even civil society has been encouraged, I think, to participate in this fight because they speak also for the citizens. But I think we, as Africans, I think also as members of Parliament, must also play our part by ensuring that we use our oversight role as members of Parliament to ensure accountability.
So how we do it in Zambia is that we have different parliamentary committees, the estimates committee, and during budgeting time we form one big team, which is the extended estimates committee. We interrogate the budgets with the budget office at Parliament, the various witnesses who are like experts in all these fields. So Parliament has to approve the budget. The President has already set the tone because in Zambia we're going for a very pragmatic budget, a pro-growth budget, and just a paradigm shift, and Parliament is towing the line. So basically the Minister of Finance himself, who is a more progressive person, has actually announced that he will be bringing a bill to Parliament where Parliament will not only be involved in scrutinizing a budget, but I think we're also proposing that Parliament also gets involved from the budget planning process so that the priorities, money is allocated to the priority areas rather than being misallocated.
I think that we have a role as developing country MPs to make sure that we put in place processes, we put in place legislation that makes ourselves more effective at ensuring accountability among the three arms of government.
The budget is the biggest piece of vehicle that takes development and takes a lot of issues to do with poverty reduction in terms of the expenditures. We don't take part in terms of like formulating the budget, even in terms of the budget cycle itself, planning and the like. So our involvement is very little, and this is a very great concern to us. We are at the receiving end, and in a parliament where we work with figures, when the ruling party has got the numbers, then we're in problems.
It's important to interrogate the budget before the money is spent. So with a budget office advisory unit now at Parliament, which Zambia has now started working on, and it's just about to really take off, although it's already working. I think that MPs now will have a chance to have some internal support in how to analyze and appreciate the budget content that's coming from the executive.
What I learned from this workshop is quite pertinent, so that we need to manage the issue of one, engagement with our development partners, two, the issue of transparency and accountability. So at the end of the day, if we take this home to say whatever we get, let us be accountable and let us go to the people and be transparent about what really we want to do is regarding our programs.
The key lesson learned here is that parliaments are occupying a very prominent role, as you can see from the various deliberations, and that's the message we are taking home. And we're asking our cooperating partners to also invest, because parliaments need a lot of capacity building. You know, to be a member of parliament is not a specific skill per se. It's not like being a lawyer, a doctor. You are dealing with a lot of things with people from different backgrounds. So there's need for a lot of capacity building. We don't want parliament to be correcting a post-mortem. We want parliament to actually be preventive, because we have strong monitoring tools, systems that can prevent misuse and misallocation.
Development is a two-way street, in my view. African countries has been, in most instances, have been trying to throw development into the hands of the donor community and not really taking responsibility. What I'm going to take home is the fact that when you talk about development, I think the national budget must also inform about development. We must also allocate and appropriate resources locally that will go towards development and especially poverty alleviation. Secondly, I've learned, or I'm going to take home the issue of the whole involvement of Parliament in the whole process of budgeting. The last item is, are we going to continue electing leaders? And when I'm talking about leaders, I'm not excluding myself, I'm also part of the leadership. On the basis of popularity, or should we try to put something in there to take note of the fact that competency is also a critical success factor?
We've learned a lot from other partners in the developing world, but we've also realized that Zambia has made some few more strides than some of the other countries.
Fantastic. My name's Stephen.